Alrighty guys, how's it going? I was sitting here working on the J-Red, and then I know I've put videos out there before on how I clean up ports and stuff, but I just thought I'd give you guys a refresher course. Some people must not have seen the videos, but I'm working on it. So what do I use on my ports? Well, I've got, you know, long bits, short aggressive bits. I've got diamond bits. I use these little bit smaller dental grade shaft ones quite a bit because they leave a lot finer finish than these. I'll typically rough them in with these, then switch over to these. I use a combination of this used to be a white stone, or the round diamond bits for, you know, my chamfering. Sometimes it's a combination of both. It just depends on what the plating's doing and what it's trying to do. I've got big bits too for my air stuff. Like this one, I use this to help go in and recut my chamber shape on that 660 that I welded the chamber up on. So that's some of the stuff that I use. I have, it's a mess, but this is a bolt that I just cut a slot in, and I have bigger ones on air powered ones as well. And I'll use like this is 600 grit sandpaper. This was just the sticky back 6-inch rounds that I cut into strips. I use a combination of 80 grits, like you know, if I'm trying to get just depends on what I'm trying to do is what I'll do. I'll, you know, rip sandpaper into strips like that so I can slip on that arbor and roll it up. I've used Scotch-Brite for years. I've been doing automotive work forever. This stuff's amazing. Used to have to buy this stuff, but I have a buddy that owns a body shop, and I get all his used stuff. And the used stuff that gets primer dust, you know, all in it, or scuffy dust from scuffing up, you know, the paint before painting or whatever, doesn't hurt porting a bit because you're making aluminum dust. But the gray stuff's finer, the red stuff's coarser. He don't use the green stuff, so I do have to buy the green stuff. But the green stuff's even, and you can get this stuff in different thicknesses. You can get it super thick like this green stuff. You can get it like a medium thickness, and you can get it even super thin. If you're sliding it in and out of the arbors, I like super thin. I'll use a combination of Tootsie Rolls, and then I've got shortened up armatures that I use on certain ones. Let's see here. I've got a mixture. That's modeling clay right here. That's not the buffing clay. That's modeling clay that I use to do some case work with. But I have a whole slew. This is some of my newer ones, so they're not getting mixed up with my older ones. But like these, I think I get on Amazon. They're different size shapes and stuff. These ones I get off eBay. These are the dental grade ones, the ones with the blue backing. These are probably my favorites, but you got to be careful how hard you're pushing on them because you can break the shafts. These are eBay's. These are nice for really fast cutting and getting stuff out, but you got to be careful how hard you push on these too, because you can bend the shafts. The shafts bend very easy on these, so light passes with these, but they remove a lot of material. And then let's see here. I got other assortments of little buffers that I use. I got different diamond stones in there. Always got to have a supply of Sharpies. I do have a little tiny dental tool one that takes special bits that I'm currently out of bits on. That's nice for getting into, you know, some odds and ends. Like right here's a domed over bigger one I use in my air powered stuff. The reason you see rings and gaskets and stuff floating around is I'll use rings to, you know, push around to mark out my ports and stuff. Here's one of my bigger air powered ones. Here's another one. Extra caps. I use these caps. You just drill holes in your bench and then slip them in there. And then you can have one with water, one with oil. Helps for cooling down the bits and stopping them from loading up. This, I use these as well. This is like nylon. These are thinner. I got these from work. But you can, if you don't have access to this, you can substitute a cheap Chinese ratchet strap and just cut it in sections as well. What I'll do with them is I'll do it with these too. It just depends on what I'm doing and what the aluminum's doing. But I'll use these polishing. Don't really call it a compound. It's like a clay. I can roll that up on there, and I'll dip this in WD-40 and get it wet, and then I can roll it into this. This abrasive that's in this will attach to that, and then I can polish my ports. And then I'll rough them in with there. It just depends on how serious I want to get on the port and what I'm trying to do. Honestly, you know, the red, 90% of you guys would be totally happy with the finish that just the red gives, and then you can put a little lube on it and buff it up even more. But if you want it to look even a little better, the gray. And then if you want it to look even better than that, then switch over to the nylon and the buffing compound. Very, very seldom do I use this. It's just depends on what I'm doing, what I'm wanting to do, how I'm feeling. I mean, that's I think that's 320 finish right there, and I'm not done with it. After that, it'll go to probably a 400, then a 600, then I'll probably go red, gray. And I don't know, maybe I'll buff that one so I can show you guys, you know, what a totally buffed one will look like. And then, like on the tops of my pistons, my shop's a mess, guys. I use this gray one, and I'll soak this down, and then I'll just rub this on there, and I'll put gloves on because that piston will get hot, and then I can buff the top of a piston with this in less than a minute, and then just dunk it in water to cool it down. And yeah, I got the welding project done. Got to wait for him to come up, pick it up. And this is how I do my base cuts. Some people say it's not right. I look at it as it's not the most accurate way, but typically if you know, you put it on there and the cylinder's not, you know, you're not dialed in on all four of the tabs of the cylinder. I check it in 4 spots. Typically I can lay a piece of tape on one side or the other, wherever I got to shift it to, and you know, between goofing off and then loosening it and resetting the cylinder, typically I can get it really close. If I do end up getting one that's cattywampus and I just can't for the life of me get it to square up, then I'll set the cylinder in rotation with the wrist pin on the piston. So if it's going to be, you know, offset a little bit, it'll be with how the piston rocks in the connecting rod. I typically have never had a problem doing it that way, but if you do end up having to do it that way, then you'll get a weird squish, like you know, like your squish might be a thousandths off from one side to the other. But very, very rare occasions have I ever had to do that, and it's typically on my stuff. Most of the time, I'll make it work. Other ways is to take, you know, material like this and build yourself an arbor to clamp it in, then a block of wood and a live center to put pressure on it and cut it. But I've cut cylinders that way as well. And sometimes you're still, especially if your lathe's a little out of wonk like this one is, sometimes you're still fighting, trying to get things squared up. I just find these exhaust expanders, you know, I got 3 different sizes of them. Occasionally I'll get some oddball cylinder that fights me pretty bad about, you know, where it's in between sizes, where the big one's too big and this medium sized one's too small. But it's far and few between. And I've got, I don't know where they're at now, I got like different shims and stuff that I can slide over here and accommodate that if need be. But that's how I typically do the cylinders. And then, like I said, if I'm doing a pop-up, I'll actually open this up and put my other chuck inside here, because I don't have I have multiple chucks for this, but I don't have multiple chucks that fit it. I have to chuck a chuck and a chuck, and sometimes I got to chuck a chuck and a chuck in a chuck, especially if I'm trying to do some precision dinky work. I'll have to put this little guy in there. Very seldom do I have to use him, but there's the occasional oddball. These 2 I typically use for doing my pop-ups. I've got other ones, like if I'm boring the backside of a piston out or whatever. So there's just multiple different ways of doing stuff. I've got belts for back when I used to do big engines. I got they're like emery cloth style belts for like these crank polishers. I got 2 of them. I got this electric one, and then I've got this Daco air powered one, and I've got lots of belts. I try not to destroy them belts just in case I ever got to use them, because them belts are pretty expensive. But I have some used belts that sometimes I cut up, and I'll take the different grits off that and use on my porting bench over there. So let's see here. And then I've been using this as a wash table lately, and it's nice to have different types of solder and stuff around. I feel like I picked up a sliver. That's awesome. But no, I'll use stuff like this so I can, you know, come in here and lay out what I'm doing for my cylinder work. I've been pondering this one around. I was thinking about actually cutting the sides of this one off to see if I could get more up the transfers. But I wished I had another case sitting here that was just a case half that I could set that on and look at. I really don't want to split the case on that J-Red. But no, so I'm just sitting here babbling on. I'm going to pause you guys, take a razor blade, get the sliver out of my finger, go over there and buff it off with the grinder or something so it quits catching, and then I want to get back on this. But I just wanted to let you guys know that there's multitudes of ways of you know, getting, you know, the finishes and textures that you guys, you know, want. Sometimes I'll use, you know, that for a cutting oil. Sometimes I'll use WD-40. Sometimes I'll use 2-stroke oil. Sometimes I'll use that. Just everything does things just a little bit of different. I use a lot of these sometimes. I've got stones. If you guys are using stones and then they plug up, well, if you soak them in WD-40, and then say if you're working on your transfer port or whatever, you can tilt your transfer port where it kind of holds a pocket of oil, you know, WD in there, and then you can keep working that stone in there, and it creates like an aluminum slurry. And then if the stone does get plugged up, you just hit it with some brake cleaner or carb cleaner, and that stone looks brand new again. Then you just soak it in oil again and go back after it. Here's some different types of emery cloth. I've got whole slews of this Norton stuff. It's pretty old. I got this stuff for free. It doesn't take, like, you rip it off and I don't know, three, 4 passes, all the pebbles are off it. So that stuff's not very good. Here's a different thickness. Look how thick that piece of Scotch-Brite is. You can get that stuff in. I typically use this thicker stuff for the cylinders. Let's see, what did I do with my apparatus for doing cylinders? Well, I don't know where it's at right at the moment, but I'll take, well, I use these sometimes too, these little sanders, but I'll take, well, it's like a cupped wire brush, not quite like this. Typically they're always all over, but I'll take a cupped wire brush and something like this right here. This is a little one, but I'll use a bigger one. I'll find the cup that fits fairly tight to the bore, and then it'll stick over the brush like Velcro, and then I can run my electric drill down there with pressure on it, and that's typically how I hone up these, because it just makes them look nice. I'll show you guys when I get this done, but you got other options too. These work if you can get the right sizes. These work good as well. I have straight hones. Them don't quite work as well, but can be used in a pinch. I don't think there's. This is mostly for bigger stuff in that drawer. But I don't know where my drill went. I have a drill set up, all set up. I'm bad at, like, if it was attached to the air hose, wherever I carried the air hose off to and disconnected, it's where I'll find it. But yeah, here's more of that emery cloth. I got all sorts of that stuff. So I've probably blabbered on here enough. I'm gonna get back on this thing. I figure I'll post this, give you guys an update on that. The base cut turned out really good on it, so I will bring you guys back when I get farther along on it. You guys have a good one.